Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Queer Gravel and another super fun segment of Gear Corner, where I bring you into the corner of my garage and I share about a piece of gear that I think you might be interested in. Today, we're talking about the Insta360 X4. So just to get this out of the way, I am talking about this Insta360 camera, but obviously it is not sponsored by Insta360. I don't think they know that I exist. But this episode of Gear Corner is sponsored by Momentum Biking, but I'll share a little bit more about that later on into the video. So let's dive into the X4. Now I'm not gonna go through a whole bunch of specs because there are tons of videos all over YouTube that already do that. What I wanna talk about today is why I bought it, the pros and cons, or whether or not I think it actually does what I bought it for, and if I would buy it again. So let's get into it. I purchased this camera just a few weeks after it had come out. I have previously owned the Insta360 X3 and the X2 before that, when it was called like the Insta360 X2. I don't know, their names got weird for a second there, but I've owned several of these 360 cameras as well as the GoPro Max. And I've had different reasons for owning each of these cameras. At one point, I really just wanted to make content, but for this camera, I bought it for a very specific purpose, which is to run it as a dash cam while I commute. Yes, it's great for making all sorts of cool content for Instagram and YouTube and whatever else, but the real reason I bought it is because I wanted a little extra peace of mind when I was doing my daily commutes. As most of y'all know, I went car-free last year, and while it's been amazing, it can still feel a little scary to go out every day and ride with some really crazy drivers. Obviously, a camera won't stop someone from doing something stupid or crazy or what have you, but if something does go down, having actual video footage feels like a real point in my favor. And while I know it's not always a deterrent, there have been times where pointing at the fact that I had a camera running did diffuse some challenging situations. So how has it performed as a dash cam? Honestly, very, very well. First off, it's a 360 camera, and this may seem obvious, but having the ability to record everything that's going on around me and then pick and choose what I want the video to show afterwards is just absolutely phenomenal. Now, there are obviously cycling-specific dash cams already available. Garmin has one in their Varia line, and Cyclique has the Fly 6 and the Fly 12, but none of these are 360 cameras. So even though the Fly 6 and the Fly 12 have a front-facing camera and a rear-facing camera, they're not actually catching everything that's going on around you. Plus, with that system, you have two cameras, two memory cards, all sorts of double files and things like that. It honestly just seems a little too messy for me. The 360 camera is really the way to go if you want to run a dash cam on your bike. Generally, I found the battery life on the X4 to be totally great. I get anywhere from about 60 to 70 minutes on a single battery. It's easy enough to carry a couple extra batteries if I need, but one additional bonus to the X4 is that it is through charging compatible, meaning if I choose to, I can plug the camera directly into a battery pack or even my bike and run the camera as long as my heart desires, as long as I have the memory card space. The camera is waterproof, so I don't have to worry about it when it's raining or the weather's bad, and that also offers a lot of peace of mind. And that brings me to the video quality in general. The X4 is the first 8K 360 camera. All it means is that you have a much higher resolution final file than you did in the previous versions with only the 5.3 or 5.6K that was available on the X3. And to tell the truth, having had both of those cameras, you can really tell a difference in the video quality. Before we dive into the pros and cons, let's hear a little bit more about our sponsor for today's video, Momentum Biking. Momentum bicycles are all about getting where you need to go in style and comfort. Their wide range of e-bikes spans from cruisers to cargo bikes and everything in between. Whether you're looking for a stylish, lightweight option or a way to haul lumber home from Lowe's, Momentum's got you covered. They put the fun in functional, and they want to help you go your way. Click the links down below to check out their entire range and learn a little bit more about the bikes I love. Thank you, Momentum, for sponsoring this video. I know so far it probably sounds like an absolutely glowing review of this camera, but there are some cons. So let's dive into the pros and cons. Pros. The pros are a lot of what I've already mentioned. The image quality is great, the battery life, and the ability to do through charging, and the fact that it's waterproof. I will also say that working with the files after the fact is fairly user-friendly. This might be a more middle ground kind of category, as it's not the most user-friendly, but it's certainly doable and becomes easier and easier the more you do it. So it's not really a pro, but it's not really a con. It's just something to keep in mind. Cons that I've run into with this camera. The first and maybe most obvious thing, and the thing that maybe annoys me the most, is the lenses. Now, these guys protrude out quite a bit, and that means they get scratched up really easily. And scratch lenses means your footage ends up looking bad. Generally, I think that this camera is really well built and very robust, but the nature of a 360 camera is that those lenses protrude out really far, and they are easily the most fragile pieces of the camera, and they get damaged. If you're not doing a lot of rough riding and you're very careful about how and where you mount the camera on your bike, then it's not as much of an issue, but it is something you're gonna have to always be mindful of. Now, it doesn't feel entirely fair to put this next point in the con column, but I'm gonna do it anyway, so just hang with me. And that is, when you're shooting in 8K, the files are massive. So if you're like me and you're using this as both a dash cam and a content cam, then you're gonna be dealing with tons and tons of footage. For a while, I was trying to keep a comprehensive backup, and it just got to be way too much. I was filling up a terabyte memory card every week with as much as I was writing. Obviously, that was untenable. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars setting up some sort of like RAID or whatever. I don't know how to do those things. So I ended up kind of changing how I was doing the backups, and that's been working out well for me, but that's just something to keep in mind if you're trying to keep a comprehensive backup of these files. If you're shooting in the 8K, which I recommend for the highest video quality, you will have massive files and you will need to have a way to deal with that. So just keep that in mind. So would I buy this camera again? Yeah, totally. The 360 capability, the fact that it's waterproof, the battery life, and the ability to through charge, all of these things make it kind of an ideal dash cam for a bike. Now, I will say I probably won't upgrade this camera. If you have any interest in action cams whatsoever, then you know they're always pushing the envelope, and every year there's a new camera with new features and new things and bells and whistles and blah, blah, blah. And the jump from the X2 to the X3 was pretty massive, and then the X3 to the X4 was even more so. But I don't anticipate any jump after this being really worth the upgrade. Honestly, this meets all the needs that I have for the way that I'm using it. So yeah, overall, for my use case, this is really kind of the perfect camera. I will be doing a full rundown of how I use this camera as a dash cam, showing you the mounts and all of the accessories that I use and the ways that I deal with the files after the fact in a future video, so be sure to subscribe to know when that one comes out. If you like this video, please click that like button and maybe share it with a friend. Don't forget to drop a comment down below. Let me know if this is a camera that you've been interested in, if you've used it as a dash cam, how's it been working out for you? And of course, a huge thank you to Momentum for sponsoring this video, and thanks to you for watching it, because why would I do this if you weren't watching videos? Yeah. Again, thank you all so much for hanging in here, and until next time, ride with pride.